Hello there, Drew Hannish of Whiskey Lore, and time for another whiskey tasting, and it is Whiskey Wednesday. I have been going through and doing some tastings of whiskeys that I have really found impressed me over the time that I was not doing any of these videos, and so I wanted to bring them to you. Some of them are value whiskeys, some of them are, I think most of these are value whiskeys. The Chattanooga I did last week, maybe a little harder to find, whereas these that I'm doing now, the Glenfiddich that I did the first week, and this one I'm doing today, which is a Japanese whiskey called Kaiyo. Now, they don't officially call it a Japanese whiskey, but I found this on the shelf. It was like $43 a bottle, and I thought I liked the Mizunara oak that I tasted, and I would love to try some more of their whiskeys. The secret behind the name is it is the Japanese word for ocean. And what they do is they put their whiskey onto a boat for 3 months, and then that helps kind of speed age it. This is a blend of 5 different whiskey barrels, basically what they've done. It's called 5-wood. They are taking whiskey from the names you're seeing here: Pedro Jimenez, Oloroso, ex-bourbon, Mizunara, and also a French oak barrel. And it's being blended together by the founder and master blender, Jeffrey Karlovich, who's trying to strike a balance with this spirit. Now, when we look at it, you're going to find that it is somewhat light in color, not unusual for a Japanese whiskey. If you think, you could probably compare this to Suntory's Toki. It's in around the same price range. Toki is one that I have done a review on a long time ago, and I like Toki, but I'm not, overly enthused with Toki. I get it for the price that it is, wonderful, but I actually would rather spend a little bit more and get a whiskey that has a little more personality to it. This is really interesting because it, with all of these different barrels that are being blended together, and the fact that Toki is actually made with grain spirits as well as malt, whereas this is 100% malted barley. So you can't call it a single malt because the spirit has come from multiple distilleries. They call this teaspooning, where they're putting a little bit of this distillery's malt in and a little bit of that distillery's malt in. And so that takes away the ability to call it a single malt. But you could call it a blended malt. You could call it a Japanese whiskey. There's nothing written on this bottle saying what this is, which might lead to some confusion for people. But it is definitely one that I am glad that I picked off the shelf. And I am going to do a little nosing and tasting for you right now. So on the nose, I get a bit of honey. I actually get what I want to call a matchbook smoke. But the thing is that it is really a delicate smoke. Do not think of this as a smoky whiskey. It really isn't. Caramel, lemon, some really nice notes coming through there. What I'm surprised by is the fact that they're using Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez, but I'm not getting any real sherried notes on this. I think the bourbon barrel has a lot more effect, and it's that little bit of char that I think is giving me what I'm calling a matchbook smoke note. Very floral. I expect that out of a Mizunara oak barrel, which is Japanese wood. Let's do a tasting. Cheers. Nice body to this. I get orchard fruits. I definitely get like peach notes coming through. The honey is still there. As it's definitely got like a citrusy note, probably more citrus peel. There's a little bitter that comes through on the palate towards the end. It's not aggressive. It just kind of lays there. You get a peppery note, and then It's interesting because it seems like it dries out on the end. It gives me a lot of drying notes, sandalwood, just kind of these, maybe that bitter is a bit of a tannic oak that's coming in, but it's, again, all of this is very light. It's a nice balanced whiskey that is still giving me some of the coating on the palate that is coming from the caramel notes that I would expect out of the bourbon barrel. The pepper just lingers there on the palate, which is coming from the barley. I guess I don't know exactly where this peppery note would be coming from. Is there any ocean character to this? Maybe a little bit of brininess on the finish, just a little, but it doesn't necessarily give me a lot of sea character. I think the Black Label Mizunara Oak, which is going to run you about $65, $70 a bottle probably, you're going to get more of that than I get in this particular whiskey. But I'm telling you, for $43, and I think availability on this is pretty good, and you want to have a Japanese whiskey and you've never had one before, or perhaps you just want one that you can enjoy at any point and not feel guilty that you're drinking a whiskey that's in the $100 or $150 range, this is a really interesting one. And again, it is just malted barley, so you could classify it basically as a blended malt. I think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck out of that whiskey. I hope you enjoyed this. Have you had this whiskey before? Give me your thoughts down below. Have you seen it on the shelf and been like, what the heck is that? Hopefully I helped you make your decision as to whether you want to try this whiskey out or not. Until next time, cheers and slanjava. Very much fruit notes that stand out on this. And like I say, peach, maybe apricot, and some orchard fruit notes coming through as well.